In a format that small, you have something which is usually met on servers, especially these two SFP ports. Open it up is very easy. Gen 4 by 4, Gen 3 by 4, this one is Gen 3 by 2. You can use also this slot for U.2. The RAM is under this fan. Unofficially, this can run 96 GB of RAM. I have two Mac Minis. They are running ESXi and a bunch of virtual machines there. One of them broke down and I had to replace it. I was not aware about this company, MinisForum or whatever it's called. Microcomputer HK. Yeah, I never heard of them. Even if I do not need SFP Plus at this moment because I have to buy a Switch or another PC like this one. I am planning to buy another one and for sure I will show you what can you do with them. 2.5 GB LAN, you may think what can I do with it if I do not have 2.5 GB Switch or other computers like this. You can connect it to another computer or a Switch which handles only 1 GB. The port will run at that speed, there is no problem. It's very interesting that in this small PC you have these 4 ports and on top of that 2 USB4. If the operating system permits you, you can create networking over Thunderbolt, which is 10 gigabits per second. So I have two 10 gigabits per second ports, two 2.5 gigabits per second port and 10 gigabits per second port. Imagine what you can do with them if you want to do virtualization, clustering, whatever. MS-01 S1390, it has Intel Core i9 13900H, which it has also a GPU inside. This one is without memory and without storage because I wanted to buy them separately. So for that I went with Crucial DDR5, 48 gigabytes. Later on I will buy another 48 and I will have a lot of RAM in this mini PC. On the Intel website is written that this processor supports non-binary RAM. If you look at the MinisForum's website, you will see that any MS-01, doesn't matter the processor, supports up to 64 GB of RAM. Unofficially, this can run 96 GB of RAM. Storage is 0 on this one. By the way, if you want, you can buy it with RAM and with storage directly from them. I wanted to buy them separately because I like this flexibility. For that, I bought also a Crucial T500 Pro, 2 terabytes, yeah, PCI Express Gen 4, which will fit in the Gen 4 slot. Open it up is very easy. You have this button here and if you press on it and pull, that's it. The case is metal, big rail here and this side. At least this part is toolless, the rest is not. For example, if you want to insert the RAM is under this fan and you have to unscrew this tree. The CPU is here and it's a bit difficult to get inside. Here we have a PCI Express slot. I will write in the description which graphics adapters are supported by this one and can fit inside, so make sure to check it out. This is not limited only to GPUs. You can also put HBA cards, NVMe adapters, Blackmagic cards, the list is long. On the back there is something also very interesting. I will have to remove this plate to show you better, but you can see the slots here already. We have 3 NVMe slots. This one is for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. If you do not need it, you can fit some special SSD here. These 3, you have to remember they do not have the same speed. Gen 4 by 4, Gen 3 by 4, this one is Gen 3 by 2. Let's say you use one for OS and the other 2 for RAID mirroring, you will get the speed of the slowest disk. There is a switch here, right now is on M2 and you have to keep it like this if you want to use this with M.2. This is very important, so please pay attention. With an adapter which came with the box, you can use also this slot for U.2, but that special drive requires more power. That's why you have this switch here. If you leave the switch like this on M.2, it's fine, you can insert an M.2 SSD and it will work without problems. But if this switch is like this on U2, you will have more power on this and you have a chance to fry the M.2 SSD, so be careful. I will put it back to M.2 because I want to insert an M.2 drive here. This is the latest revision, the previous did not have this written. The adapter was hiding everything and you would not know on which position is the switch. Let me quickly show you what else is in the box. We have this big power adapter which is 180 watts. You may think 180 watts is more than enough, but if you put U2 drive here and some enterprise SSDs, some other SSDs here, you have the chance to max out the power adapter. So be careful. What else? We have the manual. Read it, very important. Cables, one for power and the other one for video, a very short HDMI to HDMI. This is something which I mentioned will go in that NVMe slot with the switch and you will put a drive here. Do not put SATA disk here because it will not work. And if you want to put an U2 drive, make sure it's not thicker than 7 millimeters, otherwise it will not fit. And we have a bunch of screws. I will have to see what they are for. One heat plate for an SSD and two rubber bands probably to fix them. This is something which probably was added because there are a lot of people which complained the boot time is slow. Read this carefully and remember, for example, when you replace the RAM or add new RAM, you may have a slow boot. Sometimes it may take more than 30 seconds or a minute. You have to be patient. This will happen only one time, then it will boot normally. You remove the case toolless, but in order to install RAM and SSD, you need a screwdriver. Let's first install the SSD. You have to be careful. There is this wire here. In this slot, if you can imagine that, this SSD with a very small plate cannot fit because we have this fan touching it. So I will have to remove this and I will fix it with a little angle, but this way it will fit. Now let's install the RAM. We have to remove these three screws here. Goes here, HDMI, of course. It's very short. It's like 50 centimeters. Let's see how long it takes to boot. Wow, 41 seconds and still nothing. Remember this? 1 minute and 25 just to show this. So yeah, first boot is quite slow.